Trigger Warning Fun Time Show, Episode 1. Hey, make sure to play the Trigger Warning Fun Time drinking game every time we have to bleep one of our names. Take a drink.
Well, a trigger warning is something that you put before, like, a video or an article or something that might be difficult for them to witness.
Since the dawn of time, man has turned his eyes skyward and pondered the solitude of his existence.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's time for the Trigger Warning Fun Time Show with Scratch Masterson, Babyface Nelson, Burrito Supreme, and Superfan Ozzy.
Hello. 4 microphones, 4 faces in the room, 4 people. I should start by letting 3 of you know that this is not a job interview. This is actually, I just lied to you to get you to show up for this podcast. Is that okay?
I told you guys.
Horrible.
I gathered you together here not for a job interview. I do not have a business that I am hiring for. I just wanted you to come here and do this podcast.
What a waste of a muffin basket.
Whole afternoon shot.
No, it's the Trigger Warning Fun Time Show. You've got 3 DJs going by aliases and our taskmaster, Superfan Ozzy. Should we just all introduce ourselves? Get going?
I think that would be best. Yeah, if everyone, my name is Ozzy, is what I go by, or the Superfan Ozzy.
I'm Burrito Supreme.
I'm Babyface Nelson.
And I'm Scratch Masterson. Trigger warning. I looked up trigger warning. The Urban Dictionary definition is a phrase posted at the beginning of various posts, articles, or blogs. Its purpose is to warn weak-minded people who are easily offended that they might find what is being posted offensive in some way due to its content, causing them to overreact or otherwise start acting like a dipshit. So,
In other words, crybabies.
all right, so the whole show will just come right out and say the whole show is a trigger warning.
Sure.
Many possible offensive
Also,
things.
you could use NSFW.
NSFW.
But is it NSFW? I mean, most people who are listening to this at work, which, by the way, good job, are using headphones of some kind.
Sure, they're using headphones, and that's fine, but probably don't play it out loud on your work computer.
Yeah, unless you want to go out in a blaze of glory and you tack this thing into your office's PA system.
Which
on
we
repeat.
encourage people to do.
Yeah, screw you, Cargill! Mitch is taking off.
All right, so I guess this show will be like any other entertainment podcast, but unique and different because we're on it.
Yay!
But we're going by aliases, of course, so we don't get recognized for our more family-friendly show that 3 of us do.
Sure, because our voices aren't recognizable or anything.
No, not at all.
You know, I really am glad that we're doing this because the internet is sticking around, from my understanding. A lot of people use it. No, you know, I think it's hit the point now. It's like culottes. It's sticking around.
I don't know that culottes really stuck around.
You don't think culottes
By the way,
are
we
still
need to
used?
talk about your fashion.
Oh, well. I thought that these were still popular.
Sorry,
Oh.
you were wrong.
This last week, I thought maybe we should change the phrase from who wears the pants in the family to who wears the yoga pants in the family. Because I see that now men are getting into that, wearing yoga pants.
No.
It shouldn't be wrong, though, because they are so comfortable. I wish that you guys could enjoy the comfort that is the yoga pant. It's really like an extension of your skin. It's like you're not even wearing pants.
See, that's the problem. I like pants.
I don't.
I would have to walk around with a shirt that says trigger warning so people wouldn't look below the waist. You may be offended by what's going on below the waist down here. And speaking of trigger warnings, that's something we could talk about a little bit is what are the worst or dumbest bands on albums or movies or comics? And I will start the ball rolling by saying, do you remember Stryper, right?
Oh, yes.
Christian rock band, I can't count how many of their albums would have double releases because first they'd come out with an album cover. One of them was Yellow and Black Attack, and it had the band all laying around on top of a yellow and black van holding like submachine guns and automatic weapons. And of course, then people were upset, oh, what is a Christian rock band doing holding automatic weapons? So they put out an album that was just all black, like Spinal Tap. Then they had one called To Hell with the Devil, and it had them all with angel wings, like throwing this demonic rock guy into a pit. And then people said, oh, that's very offensive. So then they came up with another album that was just black with the title on it. Those guys went
But
through
it's a
that
very
lot.
nice way to sell twice as many albums.
Right.
I mean, put something out you know is going to offend someone, and then you have to resell it again to everyone else.
It's like the alternate covers in comic books.
Yeah,
You got to buy all 5 issues of the same comic book.
Do you know how many versions of Army of Darkness I own? I must have 8 different copies
Right.
because they all come out with a different edition or a different cover art. Same thing with Clue for some reason.
Yeah.
The movie, not the game.
I don't agree with people being offended by art, and if you are, don't buy it then. Why do people come up in arms about it and make bands or comics have to come out with alternate covers?
Right.
Because
If it's-
when I was shopping at a Best Buy going to get a Margaritaville margarita maker, I saw that while I was going through the aisle, and I was so offended.
See, that's ridiculous. Art should be art, and it
Yeah.
shouldn't. No one should be allowed to get offended by someone else's art.
Right.
That's why trigger warnings on the internet are 100% useless too. Because if you're offended, you shouldn't just be randomly browsing the internet. Because you're gonna stumble across something.
Yep.
Anything else you can think of? Stupid
Well,
warnings?
for me, it was always poisons open up and say "aw." It was the lady had the big tongue sticking out, and for whatever reason, people found that offensive. So they just shrunk the outside part of the label down, so it was just the eyes. Now I don't see why the long tongue offended so many people and why that was such an issue.
Right. They're the ones with the dirty minds.
Right.
They're not saying what this woman's going to do with her foot-long tongue. Maybe she's just going to eat an ice cream cone.
Yeah, that's what I assumed.
Is that working?
Isn't that
over
what
there?
everyone? Yeah, isn't that what everyone assumed? No, I'm sorry. I mean Burrito Supreme.
Yeah.
We'll just let's throw a bleep over that,
Right.
and then we'll just know where we're at.
I wouldn't think dirty from that cover. And once again, I don't see why it matters. I've seen much more offensive art, like that woman who painted Donald Trump with her period blood. Now that is offensive art, but that got plastered all over the internet.
That had a place.
Sure.
Served a purpose.
On the web, but for someone to get offended by a super long tongue on an album cover, I don't get it. I just don't get it.
When I was a kid, the only time my mom ever made me throw away an album was when she heard me listening to Adam Sandler's "They're All Gonna Laugh at You," and she happened to come in while I was on the floor crying, listening to Medium Pace.
Oh,
And she's like, "What is this?" And I saw she broke the CD in half in her hands. And luckily, no one really cared much back then. So I went to Media Play and picked up a brand new copy the next day because I wanted to be cool.
right.
Show her.
Babyface showed his mother. We all have our name tags up in front of us here, by the way. Otherwise, I would forget that I'm Scratch Masterson.
And some people obviously aren't paying attention to the name tags. So.
Well, it's your name tag is positioned so Scratch can see it. It's harder for me to see it.
I thought you were better than Scratch. I didn't think that you needed it.
I'm going to tell you this. I'm the guy running the board and the computer right now. So while you guys sit back and enjoy
Welcome
your
to
afternoon.
my world. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, but you'll notice I have a lot fewer technical guffaws than you do on a constant basis.
In fact, before you got here, because you were late, we were talking about how perfectly I ran the board this last Friday, and what a surprise that was.
Yeah, for coming in the day after St. Patrick's Day. A little inebriated still.
I don't know about inebriated.
I think I'm pretty
yeah.
sure. Yeah, pretty sure you were. Still with your makeup on from the night before. Little
Kind of on.
blurry-eyed.
Actually, I hadn't even looked at myself in a mirror until I used the bathroom at work, and I was like, whoa. I was wondering why there were some people that were like, are you feeling okay? Are you going to go home soon?
But you know, for being a little loosey-goosey, board skills are mwah,
Yeah, on point.
like a superhero.
It's like one of those people who says, like, I'm better at driving after I've had a couple of drinks because then I really concentrate on the road. It's the worst logic you can come up with.
Can we
Yeah.
hey, you know what? So I said superhero. Let's just keep that free-flowing stream of consciousness thing going. Quick, favorite superhero?
Batman.
Batman? Any particular reason?
It just always has. It was actually going to be one of my first tattoos I ever got.
Backstory registers with you?
Yep, the old Batman symbol was going to be the first tattoo I ever got.
Why wasn't it the first tattoo?
She was sick when I showed up to get the tattoo. So,
The tattoo artist?
yes.
Oh.
A big sign on the door said no tattoos today due to illness.
But you still have not gotten it?
I have not gotten it. No, I changed my mind on my artwork after that point. So, yep.
Bummer.
Favorite superhero?
Oh, mine is Batman as well. I own more Batman memorabilia than anything else. Always been my favorite. The vigilante justice at its finest. Although I don't think that they've made a really great Batman movie, and I'm not that excited for Batman versus Superman.
What about the Tim Burton Batman movies?
Oh, sure. See, I love the Tim Burton. Like,
those are solid.
Yeah, solid. The Batman and Batman Returns both solid, but the Christian Bale ones, they're okay too. You know, like they have some good moments.
Yeah.
But nothing compared to, because even though Marvel's not my favorite, I do love the Marvel movies, and the Marvel Cinematic Universe is on point.
Captain America. Full stop.
Huh?
Love Captain America.
It's like I would say the opposite of Batman.
I think the thing that interests me the most about Captain America is he feels that great sense of duty, but when he's but when he's brought to like modern times, he does that has changed so much. Like things aren't black and white anymore. Everything is a shade of gray, and he finds himself a fish out of water. And he's got to figure out, I've got all this power. What am I supposed to do? What's my duty?
So
can I touch my duty? Can anyone help me find my duty?
So for Civil War, then, are you Team Captain? Because we discussed this a while ago, and you said Team Iron Man.
Team Iron Man. Just because of politics. Politics have nothing to do with who's your favorite superhero.
What?
Yeah. If there were real mutants here today, you darn right I want them to be in check. I don't want someone reading my thoughts and finding out what pornography I'm searching. You hack your way into my computer like America meant it to be.
The rest of us have to.
Well, I would say my favorite then, and it's a toss-up between Iron Man and Spider-Man, which really probably could be more diverse characters because, Iron Man's he's a little cocky, a little arrogant, well off, but has a lot of inner demons. And then you got Spider-Man, who's kind of self-doubting but real wisecracking. They're both the same. And that's why I like the Spider-Man comic book so much when I was younger, because there'd just be word balloons like crazy during the fight scenes because Spider-Man's so busy cracking jokes. He hits the wall landing and 2-point landing, give the kid a Cupid doll. He's always saying funny stuff, which is kind of like why I like Deadpool too. But I think Spider-Man's my favorite. Because I like the Marvel stuff, the DC stuff,
See, I like the DC world better. I like the darker world.
I like Burt Ward and Adam West era Batman, but
yeah. See, I like the old campy Batman. Yeah. If I was going to pick a Batman, see, my favorite Batman movie is the one that they made with Adam West way back in the day, where he has to kick that shark off of his leg, like a helicopter.
Bat repellent. No, it was a shark repellent. Utility belt sprays it on the shark and it falls off.
And you also get all those great villains from back in the day.
Speaking of which, then how about superhero movies? You got Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice coming up in 5 days. Mm-hmm. And I've only managed to muster up a minimal amount of excitement for it.
Yeah, I'm excited about the characters. I just have a strong feeling I'm going to be very let down by the movie. I don't think the storyline is going to work the way you hope it will.
Those are my thoughts exactly. I think they're pushing their Justice League movie too quickly. They didn't spend the time they needed to spend with developing the characters. I mean, they're throwing so many into this. I mean, really second movie, right? Because we had Superman. What was the Superman?
Man of Steel.
Thank you.
Right.
Man of Steel. But other than that, there wasn't a big blockbuster leading up to this series, right?
Right.
So just one movie, which I don't know about you guys, but I did not like Man of Steel. I thought for an origin story, it really missed its mark.
Here's the thing: do any of you had a friend who lost his virginity later on in life, maybe in his late 20s or something like that?
Right. Yep.
And by the time he was, after college and everything like that, he started panicking, right? He's like, I'm so late to the game, so I will do anything I can just to get this over with, which is exactly what DC's doing right now. So my
too quickly.
I was gonna say, my idea is that the best scene in Batman versus Superman is going to take place in the first 15 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's all downhill and awkward and sticky from there.
Yeah. With so much disappointment all around.
And they're already teasing, and the trailers are, oh, look, we got Wonder Woman is in this. And, oh, look at all the
And
how excited you should
Aquaman
be.
is supposed to make an appearance as well, even though I haven't seen him in any of the trailers yet.
No.
And yet, in the same breath, a little less than 2 months after that, you got Captain America: Civil War, which you see the trailer for, and you can get really excited because, good grief, you got Black Panther in there, and you got Spider-Man showing up, and Ant-Man. I mean, there's going to be a lot of the Marvel universe in this.
The big talk I've heard people say is how excited they are to see Ant-Man ride Hawkeye's arrow.
As soon as I saw that in the trailer, I was like, this is exactly what we've all been waiting for.
Dare I say, I'm more excited for Civil War than I was for Age of Ultron.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Now, I mean, I liked Age of Ultron a lot. Don't
Great
get me
movie.
wrong, but I think Civil War is going to be that movie I want to see 7 or 8 times in the theaters. So congratulations, Hollywood. You can send one more kid to college on I mean, Babyface.
Well, every time
Let's just keep the bleep going for me every single time that happens.
well, every time you go to the theater, you get a new trailer for something too. And the last time we went, we saw the trailer for X-Men Apocalypse, which apparently I've seen before, but I didn't realize it.
Yes.
Because I was telling
so times.
I was telling Burrito. See, this is hard. I was telling Burrito Supreme as we were waiting for the Bronze to start. Mm-hmm. They show the trailer for X-Men Apocalypse, but the sound was out. I said, "Oh, that was a bummer. I wanted to see that trailer." She goes, "You have seen that trailer several times."
Yeah, you've watched it with us billions of times in the morning. I mean,
Wait a
how many
minute.
times have we watched that trailer?
No, it was 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah, I was
was
gonna say
10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah, because that had happened to us the week before at 10 Cloverfield. That's when the
sound was out.
sound was
That's
out.
right.
Yeah.
Have you noticed how when something like that happens nowadays, nobody goes up to like get a manager or to tell them that there's a problem? Everyone always thinks it's somebody else. Somebody else will do it. Someone else will do the heavy lifting. I'm just going to sit here and wait.
It's a 30-second ad, though.
Right. By
Sure.
the time you get there, I mean, I guess if the next ad or whatever was, I think there was another preview after that. If that also would have had sound out, then I would have called someone.
See, you say that now in hindsight.
No, I had
But I'm
my
guessing-
phone in my hand. Like, I was ready, but I was like, if it's
Guessing
just
you'd
one
sit there and go
trailer,
like, oh.
someone else is going to do it?
Well, if the movie starts without any sound, that's when I'll go.
Then
and I'll check.
Get out and go home.
That's what I was thinking.
But yeah, Scratch, you'd seen that trailer multiple times. And
Well, you know, my memory isn't what it used to
right.
be.
But doesn't that movie look awesome?
It does look good.
There's another one, though. They're throwing a lot of new mutants into this one movie all of a sudden. Mm-hmm. In the trailer, Nightcrawler's in there, Psylocke, a new younger...
Psylocke is going to be really hot. Olivia Munn's going to really rock that one.
Yeah. The younger version of Storm
Yep.
going to be in this one, so...
Well, we're going to have a lot to talk about in future podcasts, too, because we could blow our wad on this because we're talking about mutants now.
We could DC ourselves all over the place.
I'm already thinking of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows, which is coming out in June. But maybe we can save that and talk about that for another time.
You know what I want to talk about?
What?
Who's the next celebrity who's going to die?
Ooh.
I was just watching a thing with Dick Van Dyke, who's now 90 plus years
Oh,
old.
my goodness.
And he looks pretty spry. He's dancing around, he's still singing. Betty White, the same way. She's still acting and stuff and, you know, making jokes and saying dirty words.
Both the Van Dyke brothers still alive,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yep.
Jerry Van Dyke and
Jerry's
Dick
still-
Van Dyke.
Yeah. Just saw both of them on TV the other day. That's why I was like, I'm pretty sure they were both still alive, yeah.
And I was watching Jerry Seinfeld's riding around in cars, or celebrities in cars, getting coffee, and they had Don Rickles on there.
Were you going to say riding around in cars with boys?
And Drew Barrymore was there. And he had Don Rickles, and, you know, Don Rickles still as sharp as a tack and funny, but he's up in his 80s now, too.
Yeah.
Some of these guys, I can't believe that they're still going at it.
Bob Newhart shows up every now and then in
Yeah.
a funny role. So that's the thing. Who's going to be the next one to kick the bucket?
And both Bob Newhart and Don Rickles are still working. Those guys are still filling
Touring,
rooms.
yeah.
I mean, I couldn't imagine. I would love to see Don Rickles yet before he passes away. I figured it's something we better do in the next few years. Though.
I saw him 3 years ago, and
Yeah.
his show is still as like un-PC as it can get, which was awesome because you walked into that showroom and all of a sudden, you know, I mean, the jokes were very bawdy and all over the place, and no one was like, oh, I'm so offended. I'm getting out of here. He's
the one
just
guy that can get away with it, and he doesn't go in with a set of material. He just works off of his own comedic skills, how sharp he is, playing off of the audience. Picks people out, makes fun of them. It's just all off the top of his head.
He's a smart man.
If I was only half that sharp.
Maybe one day you were.
One day.
Yeah.
One day you were. One day.
I'm putting my money on one of the Dixie Chicks. Kicking
That's
the bucket.
right.
Yeah.
Really? Why?
They're all
I don't know. I had
beautiful.
I had a dream the other night that I was watching Saturday Night Live, and they interrupted it to talk about how one of the Dixie Chicks had died. And it wasn't a sketch either, because for some reason it was Hugh Downs telling me that, and he's been out of the game now for
He
a
has
while.
Been out, yeah.
But
He was on 2020, and that was
Yeah.
the last thing he did, right?
I feel like that was a sign. I don't know which one of the Dixie Chicks. Probably the one that no one recognizes, who they put, like, if they take a picture of them, one standing in front of the other, the one who's in the back.
Yeah.
My elbow so much.
Oh, get your
Why is
funny
it called
bone.
a funny bone? That did not.
Yeah.
It's not
make
funny.
me
I mean, it made everyone else laugh.
That's
Though.
true.
That's why.
It's funny to us.
Oh,
And you guys are talking about the
others.
super old celebrities, and I don't necessarily agree that it'll be one of the Dixie Chicks. But if we look at who has died this last year, they were all very surprising. It wasn't these people that are 95 plus and still working. So you never know.
You assume, like, Alan Rickman was probably in decent shape, but David Bowie was probably, had been pretty health conscious.
But
No.
he was sick though.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, he got
and
sick.
so was Alan Rickman, and I don't think that David Bowie was very health conscious. That guy was smoking his whole entire life.
You don't think that he probably ate a lot of broccoli or something?
Well, he
You don't
might
think
have,
ate
but it
well?
doesn't make up for,
Isn't Abe Vigoda the one guy that everybody was like, wow, he's
He's
still
still
alive?
It's a joke, right? He died like 8 years ago.
Right.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I sent flowers to his funeral in '97.
I mean, how many times had it already been reported that he passed away? And then who else?
Lemmy Kilmister.
Lemmy Kilmister. Schneider from One Day at a Time.
Glenn Fry from the Eagles.
And then that the last surviving Munchkin, who everyone said had died at age like 94, but it turned out he wasn't dead.
Right. He's like, hey guys, no,
Yeah.
I'm still here.
He was just like, I'm underneath the covers.
Lollipop Guild.
Grizzly Adams and Nancy Reagan. They were together when they passed away. They're actually hanging out together. Driving NASCAR.
Who would you want to sponsor your NASCAR? Like, who would you like to drive under the banner of? I'm looking at you, Scratch.
Okay.
You any company in the world.
Apple. I don't know why. I don't have
Why?
any reason for that. Get some free Apple products from them. And by the way, if you're listening to this podcast,
Apple.
some free Apple podcasts.
You know what we gotta do is we gotta get a sweet deal with Audible.com, because they sponsor like every podcast under the blue moon. And all we have to do is say something like this. Go to Audible.com and under the podcast section. And then they'll be like, hey guys, here's $100. If my NASCAR was being sponsored by anything, I would want it to be something that people go like, oh,
That's
like
weird.
like Tampax. And then my thing would be like, when I win, like I throw Tampax into the audience at the NASCAR race.
Hey, he's the winner.
Yeah.
Would you want us to see if we could pull a few strings for you on that?
Oh. Well played, sir.
Sorry.
And coming in first place, it's the Ronson's Enema Kit car.
I've never thought about it, and I don't know why you have.
Well, like, okay, for instance, you, Burrito Supreme, I imagine that you would want to pick any alcohol company.
Ugh.
Or Plan B. I don't know. Are they sponsoring anything these days?
I don't know. Bacardi?
Yes.
That would be your pick?
That would be mine.
Car is
The
literally
Bacardi
in the
car?
word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The big
Right
car.
there.
You'd have the Bacardi.
Car.
Yeah, I mean, like, saying,
See, it's not so easy, is it,
Wow.
Burrito Supreme?
like Scratch saying Apple. I would want it to be something that I could get something out of. Like an alcohol company. Not Bacardi, though.
They have many flavors.
Jägermeister.
Yes. I don't drink Jägermeister, really. I don't like black licorice. But in my youth, I would drink a lot of it because that's what everyone gets, right? Yag bombs. Let's get crazy.
Woo!
Can outdo you with the Yag bombs. Some guys I work with do. It's called Tequila Meisters. It's half tequila and half Yag in one shot.
Oh my lord!
I just
Gross.
yagged.
Yeah.
Yag bombed in my throat a little bit.
No, I do like to drink tequila and Red Bull or any energy drink. Little tequila bombs. So maybe Jose Cuervo is looking to sponsor something new. Or Patron if I want to be a little classier than what I am.
I didn't drink in high school. Or really even like much in college. It wasn't until after I turned 21 that I started to drink. But when I was 19 years old, a friend of mine had a big New Year's party, and for Christmas, all he asked his parents for was booze. He's under 21, so they bought him a bunch of booze and said, you can have a big New Year's party, but everyone stays here and we keep it safe. So there's probably like 100 people in this basement, and they're like, you don't drink. Would you be the bartender so that, you know, someone who's sober?
Baby face, you don't drink.
Yep, baby face, don't drink.
Nice catch, burrito.
Yep, thank you. This is going to be a lot of fun to add those beeps. And so they asked me to bartend, and so I'm bartending all night, and I have no idea what any of these liquors are. And so I invented a drink called the Nasty Vagina.
Okay.
Which was all of the mint-flavored liquors mixed together in one cup, and then I poured that out into shots, thinking that, well, they're all mint-flavored, so they must complement each other. Mm-hmm. So it was like mint vodka and, like, mint-flavored, like a peppermint schnapps and stuff like that, and, like, Dr. McGillicuddy's and all these things mixed together in one.
It's like drinking delicious mouthwash.
Yeah. And, so many people vomited that night. So many.
But it smelled minty fresh.
Yeah, it was pretty gross. I also had a friend who threw up a bunch of baked beans on us.
What was the name of your drink?
The Nasty Vagina.
Okay.
Why would you call that a nasty vagina when it smells minty?
Because someone had nasty vaginas, so they put like a bunch of mint douches in there.
That could you could start. That could be a little startup. Babyface Nelson's Nasty Vagina.
Sure. Coming around the bend is the Nasty Vagina car.
I'd like to start a business that sells hammers and clocks and call it Hammer Time. And then you can get all of those MC Hammer pants that people had in the 1980s, and then all your employees could wear the Hammer pants. And then when somebody comes in and asks for something, they can just go, Hammer Time. And they go back to the stock room and do the hammer dance. Hammer Time.
And if you have to close down a section because you're using a ladder, can't touch this.
Right. That aisle is blocked off. Can't touch this.
Very nice.
Hey, welcome to Hammer Time.
You know, you could probably get MC Hammer to actually work in your store. He's pretty desperate these days.
It really is.
A few million behind on taxes.
I'd buy that for $1.
Well, all right. Well, how long has this podcast been?
This is 29 minutes, and I've got 1% battery life on my computer, so
Okay.
that's a good indicator, right?
And with that, our first installment, a half hour long, the Trigger Warning Fun Time Show. Whew! I'm Scratch Masterson.
I'm Ozzy.
I'm Burrito Supreme.
And I'm... Never mind, Babyface Nelson.
All right. We'll see you on the next podcast. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Toodles.